After Madalyn was murdered, Ellen Johnson became president of the American Atheists. She moved the headquarters to suburban New Jersey. Today, she's fighting to rebuild the movement as a political lobbying group.
It was basically learning my job, and I've been learning that for the past 10 years. And what I've been learning about mostly is the atheists, how to organize the atheists. Why is it that with so many issues, and atheists being so passionate about this, why aren't they as strong and as formidable in America as the theists? There are 45 million evangelical Christians in America, but there are 30 million Americans who are non-religious. We have the numbers, so my job is to figure out what to do with those numbers.
Traveling through America, I met some of those atheists.
Judy has made some marvelous cookies.
They're thoughtful, decent people. No hint of the appetite for outrage of Madalyn Murray O'Hair. No hint either of the evil many Americans fear. In Montana, I came across a Jewish atheist. There was a Mormon atheist in Utah. An ex-military atheist lived in South Dakota. A freethinkers group met in Kansas City. And bright kids gathered at an atheist summer camp in Ohio. All of them were getting on with their lives in godly America.
Thank you all for coming.
4 decades after O'Hair's victory at the Supreme Court, American atheists rallied to challenge the Pledge of Allegiance at the same spot. They still struggle to be heard over Christians protesting the infidel.
Jesus, precious Jesus, we have the victory. Everybody got it. Come on.
Our nation is under attack from religious fanatics from without and from religious fanatics from within.
Hallelujah! Lift up your hands, because we have a voice of triumph.
Free-thinking, non-theistic, humanistic people. That's you, that's me, that's us. We belong here. We have a right to be here. We are Americans.
Always talking about God, right? But just last week, you instigated a drama. Explain that, Miss Super Christian. Look at you plugging up the ears. You don't even want to listen. Always go to church, but you're mean as hell. Loose screws in the head. If you brag about being in jail, loose screws in the head.
As the atheists gathered for their annual convention in San Diego, they recruited a new voice in their struggle to connect with America. Atheist rapper Charlie Boy played to some slightly bewildered delegates.
It's the birth of a new thing. Can you hack it? It's the OG faggots. Ain't you gangsta booty buster?
But most of the convention speakers had a more familiar message.
We have, in effect, a marriage of business and religion. The clergy are parasites who drain the energy from society's workers. And yet, the clergy control probably the largest sector of the American economy.
We are the atheists, free from mind control.
40 years after Madalyn Murray O'Hair's battle over school prayer, godless Americans are convinced they can win new battles.
We love nature and humanity.
Push the atheist too far, and you're going to have an atheist movement. The atheists are going to fight back, and you might not want that. So be careful what you wish for, Christians.
I wanted to see the place where Madalyn's story ended. The Texas outback is wild territory miles from anywhere. It was a year after Waters' conviction before investigators succeeded in getting the truth from him about where he'd buried the O'Hairs. In the end, Waters traded a possible death penalty for revealing the location of the bodies in an anonymous area of scrubland on a remote ranch. Don Friend, the rancher, showed me the spot where the murdered O'Hairs had been buried 10 years earlier.
These markers, actually, I put those here not to memorialize the woman, but simply, or her family, but simply to mark the spot where they dug.
Dawn Friend was there when David Waters in shackles was brought to identify the grave.
He stood about where we are here, and he looked around, and he turned from one side to the other, and he said, I believe they're buried right here. And the first bone that they discovered was a femur about that long that had been sawed. And then, as I remember, the next bones they found were the tips of her fingers. They got out paintbrushes and they would gently move the dirt around. We're very careful with each part of the body. That somehow really impressed me, and it was done by believers.
As the forensic team exhumed the remains, they uncovered a steel hip joint. It finally confirmed the identification of Madalyn Murray O'Hair.
And it was like a diamond sitting there in the dirt, and it's like, now I know for sure that that's Madalyn Murray O'Hair's body.
2 years to the day after he saved himself from the death penalty by revealing the burial site, David Waters died in prison of cancer.
That's the way they chose to have it.
I went with Ed Martin to see the place where Madalyn's remains ended up, an unmarked grave in a suburban Austin cemetery.
The casket was in it's a large vault. There's no casket, it's a large vault. It's put in the ground, and then the bodies were paper bags, and they were put inside, with Madalyn being put at the head. He was concerned.
There was a final tussle between the American Atheists and Bill Murray over the remains. In the end, Bill respected his mother's wishes that no prayers be said. Over my journey, I got to like Madalyn Murray O'Hair. She was outrageous, funny, and fearless, and her own kind of moral muckraker. And she stood up to irrational forces. But I think that Phil Donahue, a lifelong practicing Catholic, put it best.
Madalyn's message and power and the energy of her personality would be very useful, I believe, in America today.
Free speech means robust dialogue. And at a time when we need it most,
dissenters are hardly heard at all. That's a shame.
You don't like that?
The Christian God is coming to town. He's making a list and checking it well. He's gonna find out who's going to hell. The Christian God is coming to town. He sees you when you're sinning. He knows when you've been bad. If you don't watch out, he'll send you to hell. Now wouldn't that be sad? When you're shamed enough, they pass the plate. The more you give, the better you rate. The Christian God is coming to town. Everybody in the world can go to hell.